Easily the most zany, most wacky, most unpredictable chapter of One Piece I've ever read. I'm talking about, like, after reading this, while I was reading this chapter, I was shocked. I still am. I'm still reeling. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell I just read and what Oda just did to my mind. This was a crazy ass chapter. Literally the craziest chapter in One Piece. Think about that. We just read the craziest chapter in One Piece. And I'm gonna try my best to explain what the heck I just read, but yeah, how you guys feeling? One Piece chapter 1045 is out, and I didn't see this coming. I'm excited. I'm like, okay, let's just get to the chapter. Last chapter, we got an idea of Luffy's fruit and what Gear 5 was going to be. It was kind of close to Gear 2nd, meaning kind of close to his current form, his base form. This chapter, we get some more information on this form, and it's someone like Gear 2nd, but on a higher level, a much higher level. It is Looney Tunes. It is Popeyes. It is Bugs Bunny. Whatever you can think of in that vein, that is what it is. Now, for the most part, it's Luffy versus Kaido. Them just throwing hands. And I'm going to try to, again, to explain what's going on. You're not as confused, because even people that I've talked to, they're like, Braga, like, I have no idea what the hell I just read. Okay, but we're gonna get to it. Kaido says a few things this chapter that makes you wonder, makes you ponder, and you're like, okay, this should mean that, but I'm not sure. The first thing that Kaido says is interesting is he says, I'm assuming you've awakened your Paramecia Devil Fruit, right? But somehow this reminds me of a Zoan transformation. Well, why would Kaido say that? What tendencies did Luffy give off him to say, no, your Paramecia transformed, but this feels like a Zoan? I think back to the mythical Zoans and think back to Sengoku, how he was glowing. So Luffy's glowing white at this point. I'll talk about how we know Luffy's glowing white and his hair is actually white, but that's what's happening. And based on what happened, Kaido senses, for whatever reason, that it feels like a Zoan fruit. The transformation is more like a Zoan type. It's odd because, again, this transformation is one of the closest to his base form. Gear 4th, it's completely different. You cannot even recognize Luffy. Kaido did not say this about those forms. About this form, he says this. Why? One could assume it's a feeling. He's feeling the will of the Zoan, because remember, Zoan Devil Fruits, they have a will of their own, right? So you can feel that actual extra presence, which is weird when you think about Luffy and Zoro and Jaya. When they said it's not it, it's them. Did they feel the will or the presence of Blackbeard having a different soul within him? Maybe he already had that Zoan fruit. But when I think of will of your own, I think of people actually having the will to subscribe to the channel. Right? Drop it a like, turn on post notifications, look down. Maybe you've been watching a few videos, you don't even realize that you're not subscribed. You look down, oh snap, bro, let me subscribe to the boy, right? I would greatly appreciate it. If you are subscribed, drop a like and let's get on with the video, because this chapter, again, bro, I had to take some time walking around, pacing, talking to my guys, because what are you doing to me, Oda? Okay, so after Kaido talks about Luffy, the fruit feeling like a Zoan fruit, Kaido then eats Luffy. So Luffy goes into his mouth, then he turns into a balloon, like literally a balloon, but Kaido turns rubber as well. Kaido even says, you're supposed to be rubber, not me, which Luffy's awakening. From our perspective, he can turn things, items, people around him to rubber. That's part of his ability, part of his awakening. Crazy. The rubber world shit is here. It is here, boys and girls. I like that. Even for Yamato, she's looking in the distance like, but what the hell is that though? What's going on over there? To get out of Kaido's stomach, Luffy pushes his hands through his eyeballs, grabs on his nose, then propels himself out through his mouth. If you have not read this chapter, you're gonna be like, Bragi, you're losing it. There's no way all that shit happened. I promise it happened. I'm gonna say this though, probably one of my favorite panels of all time. And I don't say all time that often, but god damn it, all time. Luffy turning into a freaking giant. And guys, you understand the ramifications of this. They've talked about gigantification experiments in the past and how the government, they were experimenting on this stuff. The sun god Nika fruit, it's like, you could understand why they would want it. Luffy turned into a full-fledged giant. Did you guys see that panel? It's so beautiful. I can't get over just how clean that panel is, where our boy can transform into a full-fledged giant and affect surroundings. What does this mean for Red Line? The continent pullers, all the things that must be done. Is this necessary? This form, is it necessary? I talked about before with Orochima back in Wano when Luffy was sumo wrestling him. He turned his hand into a big actual hand via Gear 3rd. Now He's an actual full giant, guys. That is a big deal. Makes me think of Skypiea as well, right? When Luffy's big giant silhouette was in the clouds. It's all there. It was all there all along. Man, I love this panel so much. Love it. Next, we gotta talk about the BS that happened after that, though. Because Luffy then starts to skip Kaido, okay? Luffy starts to jump rope using Kaido's body. I can't make this shit up. That's what's happening. And that's why everyone is floored. What? Kaido then uses blast breath. Luffy seems to be burned to a crisp. Comes back, Kaido boinks him. He screams youch, goes to the ground, eyes popping out. People are like, what the hell? But then not only people, Law, Kid, Chopper, Nami, Tama, eyes popping out their head, wondering what the hell is going on. Seeing Law in that light, it's hilarious because, you know, Law is always so calm, stoic. Even Kid, they're all getting caught up in Luffy's pace. Sun God Nika, that fruit is supposed to bring the smiles to the eyes of many. I mean, they're just freaking shell-shocked right now. They are shell-shocked. One of my favorite lines from the chapter is when Kaido's like, it's like something out of a picture book. Like, even Kaido's wondering what the hell is going on. Now, after that, Luffy does de-transform to his regular form, but he goes to like this old-looking character. I mean, it's so similar to the Super Saiyan, but his hair is white, clothes are white. He's a god. They then have some important dialogue, right? Where Luffy's like, I'm beat. Kaido's like, what the hell are you? Who the hell are you? And he's like basically trying to give him a moral victory, saying, well, you know what? You can just pass out now. Things will be said about you guys about how you fought in this war. I don't want that. We not have that. Luffy then quotes Bing Sake. Says, when you're dead, only your bones remain. That's a line from Bing Sake. Now it's like, yo, I think about Joy Boy and what he was in the past. Was he Joy D. Binks? Was he Bink Sake? Was he Bink? After Luffy gets out of that form, though, there's some important things to talk about. Because Yamato talks about how he's unrecognizable with the white hair and white attire. That's why it was clear now what Luffy looks like. But in this case, like his voice is fading quickly. This is right after getting out of Gear 5. Luffy then somehow transforms back to Gear 5 again. The stamina thing, I don't know how it works. I'm not sure what's the driving force, but I'm thinking about just, man, you're really pushing yourself. I would say after that, the chapter became a bit more grounded and understood it more because it was like it wasn't as crazy. It probably got crazier. Kaido tried to hit Luffy with his weapon. It kind of curved around Luffy's face. By the end of it, Luffy looked like the moon from Soul Eater. He then hit him again, turns into Pot of Greed. And it's like, okay, he's using the awakening to move around, maneuver. It's not something anyone could have predicted. He then turns into like a Beyblade spinny top thing. Again, UFO, helicopter, I'm not sure. But Kaido's now talking to himself. What is this pure white transformation? He's coated with armament and conquers Haki, and he can influence anything around him with his ability. He fights so free, freer than anyone I've ever seen, ever. He's never seen anyone so versatile. But then he's saying there's no one in the world capable of taking him down. I'm like, is it tongue in cheek? Is he starting to really feel the effects of what Luffy is doing? At this point, I would hope so. At the end of the chapter, this could be misconstrued a little bit. Luffy then uses his hand and punch through Kaido's head. You're like, why is Kaido not dead? It seems like he's wide-eyed, but what happened? Well, Luffy did not technically go through Kaido. Once he punched him, he turned his brain matter and everything up there into rubber. So what you're seeing is Luffy going through the back of Kaido's head, and the rubber is restricting him. That's why he can't really see the knuckles. The rubber is going and bouncing back. So it might give Kaido the sensation of being punched there, but he's not actually being punched there. Luffy's using his awakening to alter those different things. So it didn't go through, it went in his face, and then the rubber stopped Luffy's fist and it bounced back. That's what's happening here. At the end of it, Luffy's saying, well, he's having the time of his life. Crazy chapter. Crazy. I've been seeing more people say they're turned off, they're not feeling it. Guys, I'm gonna need some time to sit with it. I don't say I hate it, I'm not gonna say I love it. It's an adjustment. Reading the chapter was fun as hell. It was a great experience. It was a great read. That giant panel, one of my favorite panels of all time, competing for the top spot. But man, okay, but guys, give me your thoughts, right? How do you feel about the chapter? Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.Ace. Thanks to my patrons. I appreciate you guys all so much. Again, guys, be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Okay, I start doubting me, I felt lost. I rewrite it.